Oh, welcome to this place on the internet that I talk about comics. I am not a YouTuber, I am a comic book creator. However, I feel like this is going to be the new newsletter. I feel like this is where we're all going to have to go to get our product out into the world. And frankly, I need to be a better public speaker. So let's kill two birds with one stone. I also need to be a better videographer. What is going on here? Last week, I answered a question regarding what to pay artists. If you are trying to enter a partnership or a work for hire arrangement with an artist and you are a younger writer, maybe don't have a ton of money, and how do you string that together? How do you make sense of it? How do you be fair, right? And I got mostly really positive feedback from people who, even if they didn't agree necessarily, they didn't think I was coming from a bad place, which I hope is kind of evident in any video that I make, is that I really want everybody to win, and if for some reason that doesn't carry over, just kind of overlay it on what I'm saying. I'm not trying to jerk anybody on anything, not trying to advocate for anybody to get fucked. I'd like for us all to win. So, mostly good response. And I got a follow-up question, and I'm going to read it if you don't mind. It's going to take a second, and I should warn you that this gentleman's first language is not English, so there might be a grammatical error, or it might be my reading. Chalk it up to my reading. This is from a fella named The Bane of Odin Saga. Is the comic book business that much different from others? How can you start a large partnership with one of the players being at risk to leave if they find something better? That sounds very strange. In the contract with the artist in this case, or the writer in others, there should be a clause that ensures that they have to finish the project or face a hefty fine. As a creator, you have to know what you're stepping into when taking on a project. It will either give you a guaranteed salary for 3 years, as in the example that I gave, and you potentially miss out on other things, or take on several smaller projects to be open for something better, quote unquote. The task of keeping the artist motivated shouldn't really be on the writers, since the artist should know what the project involves and their level of involvement. I think it's selling yourself short as a creator to give that much power to the artist. The owner of the project or the one paying the salary should call the shots. Only if they have an equal monetary investment in the project should they have an equal say in the matter. Hearing your current take on the matter seems as though the artists have all the leverage and is free to do what they want. It doesn't sit right with me, and I'm an artist. I've worked mostly as a freelance artist for rock bands like Sabaton and advertising agencies here in Sweden. Trying to start creating comics again after being held up for many years. Now I'm doing it just for the love of the media. Thank you for your content, and it helps me when I sit down to draw. But I had to give my 2 cents. Okay, first, I'm excited that you're getting back into comics, or trying to create them rather, and I appreciate you taking the time. So, I don't know how things are in Sweden, but in the United States, there's no way to fine somebody in business. Now, you can sue them, right? But there's no point in suing somebody for less than 20 grand. Some people would say less than 10 grand, but once you factor in your time, it's really 20 grand. So unless that person has somehow taken 20 grand of provable damages from you or your money directly, there's nothing to do. I mean, even if they were straight up fraud, that's just not worth your time. So that's A. Regarding a contract structured to incentivize or to penalize, you can do that. Enforcing it can be tricky, but you can enforce it in what is withheld. So that is to say, if you agree on a contract with a co-creator, in this case, let's say an artist, where they agree to do a certain amount of issues or pages in order to fully reach their co-creator status, right? So let's say that 10 issues before, it will take 10 issues on a sliding pro rata scale before they become a 50-50 owner of that property with you. You can work that out. And funny enough, I learned that from a guy who is a hyphen creator of some esteem. He's an artist, writer, and when entering the world of writing, his time around artists, he felt most comfortable building in something to the contract where should you not finish the amount of issues that both parties agree it requires to be a co-creator in earnest, then you are going to lose some percentage of your ownership of that property. I actually find that pretty fair. I don't know if I would ask for that simply because you're correct. The artist does have the leverage. Now, is that right or wrong? That's a whole hefty debate that is at the center of at least 2 comics Twitter kerfuffles a year. Is the writer or the artist more important? It's obviously asinine. Anybody who doesn't recognize that both are necessary, and of course there's creators who can do both, but if you don't recognize that both facets being great are necessary to create something truly worthy, then I don't know what to do for you. There's a common thread right now that comic writing is so weak that why not me, right? Sean Gordon Murphy said this recently. He said, I can write a little, which is about as much as my peers that write comics. So fuck it. And in some respects, he's not wrong, right? It's if we've lowered the bar so much that writers at large don't really offer anything, then why the fuck not, Sean Murphy? He's right. Now, respectfully to him, that's maybe why his follow-ups to what was it, Batman the White Knight, weren't as well received as the first. It's because he's not a natural writer. Now, it doesn't mean he won't be great someday. It just means that he hasn't honed that craft, right? So artists have the leverage. They have the leverage because they don't need writers in 2024. That's just an honest assessment of things. They don't need writers to create comics. They may need writers to create really exemplary comics, to make comics that, matter. Now, there's another conversation to be had there where if you go to the cartoonist kayfabe end of the internet, where, frankly, they don't seem to be reading the comic books, but that's fine. That's a different type of comic book collector, reader, consumer, right? That person, they have a different value assessment of the work. It's how cool is this? How inspiring is it visually? That's fine. And again, there's plenty of artists who, by taking the 10,000 hours to be a writer, are going to be great. So why not start, right? Why not cut out the writer now and start? We're going to see more of this. Certainly Marvel is giving artists that they believe in some latitude to write their own material. Is it great? Not yet. It's no Frank Miller stuff, but perhaps over time, right? So, we're going to see more of this. Also, let's just address the kind of the Marxist analysis of this, labor theory here. The artist is the labor-intensive plus skilled labor, the amount of hours. I mean, you know this. You're an artist, the gentleman whose question I'm answering. What I do in an afternoon is going to take an artist 3 weeks. I mean, the comparison that I've made in the past that has made people really angry is heart surgery takes 8 hours. Eye surgery takes 8 minutes. Both are important. And I don't know if you can really... I mean, you need a heart to live, and you could walk around blind if you chose to, but both are really important. I don't see any reason to minimize either the writer or the artist's role in things, but it is very important to understand that the artist, not just for all the esoteric reasons about our love of the craft, not for just those reasons, but in addition to those reasons, there is the practical matter that these people do not need writers, ultimately. I don't know how to put this delicately. There's a lot of trash-ass books being published. The bar for writing is toilet low. So, look, What do you do with a partner that doesn't need you? I mean, I would hope that the creators that I work with, the artists that I work with, see me as bringing something important to the table. Now, it's possible some of them, well, I don't know. Honestly, I work with some great people, but it's possible that perhaps in their hearts of hearts, they think, I could do what this fucker does. All he brings to the table is kind of his relationships. Well, that's still something, right? But we've got to be self-aware about the fact that the artist is breaking their ass, that just like a writer, it's a 10,000 hour quest to be good at something, but at the actual table takes 50,000 hours that we won't have to take, right? So got to show respect and also be just utilitarian about the whole thing and acknowledge that, okay, well, should this person want to go on without me, they could go do a thing without me. Now, are you correct in that the person who is putting up money should have more direction, it should have more say in the direction of a project? Yeah, I think likely. But in practicality, that's just not how it works. The artist knows that a work stoppage would crush you and you have no legal recourse that's going to matter. Suing somebody for less than 20 grand is a complete waste of your time. So there's nothing to be done. And look, I don't see the relationship as adversarial like this. I'm just trying to give examples. Do artists have writers by the balls? Yeah. I mean, look, I know publishers who have basically been extorted by artists. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to get ugly. I'm very pro artist sort of collaborator, but there's publishers who, if you corner them I mean, a lot of them have this story, extorted by artists. Start something, won't finish it, and then really want to be paid for pages that the publisher can't do anything with anymore. And should they be paid for their labor? Yeah. But should they finish the project that is going to make the thing saleable so it could make back the money that was spent on them? Yeah. But you can't enforce it, right? And because they can do reputational damage to you, you just got to pay it out like you're being strong-armed by the mafia. This is, I mean, a lot of publishers have experienced this. So does the artist have leverage? Yes. Is that perhaps some cosmic balance to the fact that writers do less work and make more money? Maybe. Maybe that's what balances it all out in the end. I don't know. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, and thanks for writing.